You know, obviously the reason why I'm going to the red bone theme is because, you know, obviously this is part 2. I'll put part 1 in the comment section below. But obviously this all goes into the whole theme of, you know, how Lucifer deceives the whole world into witchcraft, until he, you know, deceives humanity, and he uses his witchcraft and he indoctrinates. So, you know, I'm gonna delve into this right quick. Like I said, this is not about, you know, like I said, real people out here want education. Real people out here, you know, want to break away from strongholds of the devil. Now, you know, you got those obviously who got their pacts with Lucifer. You know, they got their oaths. You know, they serve Satan. You know, they do their witchcraft, and that's what they do. And they go out and destroy real people's lives. You know, obviously like the witches in Hollywood. You know, your Beyoncé's and so forth. You know, I'm gonna delve into all of this. You know, so you know, obviously what they did was, you know, in Louisiana, like I explained in the first video, you know, it's very important to understand like the whole theme of the culture, and I'm gonna get into that in a minute. But just this is kind of going like just kind of touch the surface. I ain't gonna go too deep on it, but I'm gonna just touch the surface on a lot of things. But anyway, you know, like the Creole, the so-called Creole, you know, goes into like the so-called black, you know, the so-called mulatto they called it, you know, to darker shade, darker skin. So, you know, going into the red bone. And then, you know, obviously the Cajun goes into the so-called whites. You see what I'm saying? So I'm gonna get into all of this right quick, and I'm gonna chime on in. So it's very important to know what they're doing and what they've done, more so. That's what I mean. So, you know, obviously the Napoleonic code, the Napoleonic code, my bad. The Napoleonic code is basically the whole thing where people would like how the work is, you know, it goes into property ownership, so it goes into that marrying and grafting in, so that they can be able to acquire property. So, you know, this is very important, because, you know, that goes to the land and so forth. So that's why they obviously did all of the marrying and in. So, you know, you got to understand with the Masons, this is where I'm going about the marrying and the, you know, the what they call so-called mixing, but the whole thing goes into that anyway, because those Masons, what they wanted to do was they wanted to infiltrate the bloodlines. So, you know, they want to infiltrate the bloodlines, grab people into their bloodlines so they'll be guilty by association, so that they can kind of corrupt, you know, they can corrupt the bloodlines, you know, and then this would be the problem we have today. So down the line, you know, how everything is nepotism anyway. So, you know, you got your Lauren Londons, you know, running around, you know, in Hollywood, deceiving real people in the real world. But at the same time, you know, once people reach that certain Masonic degrees, that's when they can acquire someone with such, you know, status. You know, your Lauren Londons, your India Westbrooks, etc. They all get that same look, because it all goes to that whole thing. What they did, they wanted to grab people in so that they can use them down the line to, you know, cause chaos in society. That's where I'm going with this.